Good evening, ghosts and goblins. See, I've been
Ghouls is a good word too.
Well, I could say good evening, boys and ghouls.
Oh, that's
not
a good
bad.
one.
That
I like
would
that.
work.
That's a
Not
little.
bad.
That's a sort of verbal punishment.
Okay.
Oh,
We
wow.
started good.
Very good.
Good evening, boys and ghouls, and welcome to another edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County for Wednesday, October 31st, 2018. I am the Nighthawk, along with our studio director, Zach, and on the panel, the cast of three. To my immediate right, Red. To his right, Super Dave, and down at the end of the table, the Duke. And before we get rolling, it's been a very depressing fall.
The weather's awful.
Like for me, I love fall golf. I played yesterday in 39-degree weather. I'd rather play in 39 than 89-degree weather. It was just me and four other people total on the golf course. However, rain after rain. I saw you golfing Friday afternoon.
Friday was cold too.
Yeah, Friday was in the 30s, and I had my Fox hat on. And
You guys love golf way too much.
Tim Bowen hollers over, "You look like Winnie the Pooh." I'm telling you, I shot 43 in the bank nine yesterday.
It's
and the
impressive.
conditions-
That's okay.
Oh, that's
Impressive.
not a bad score.
Impressive.
But it's just nice to get out and do something, and I want to get out tomorrow, but they're calling for showers in the extended forecast. Nasty. Worst fall I've ever.
Sounds like he might pull off tomorrow. After tomorrow, sounds trash.
Yeah.
I'm hearing
Oh,
mostly
Friday
cloudy
looks
tomorrow.
really
So,
awful.
Mr. Duke,
Saturday.
we had spoken when the lake level was extremely low,
Checked it today.
and it was
Still very low.
okay. So I assume within the last week you've been at Hathaway's Point.
Maybe once. It's still, and until the last time I was there, I still walked out about a third of the way to Mosquito. The lake hasn't responded much. You'd think evaporation certainly no issue anymore. I checked it, Free Press lake level as of yesterday, 94.27. It's just been up about a half foot with all this rain. I'm surprised it's not up. But,
Well, I think a
it'll
lot of
keep
the water
going.
had to soak in first.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
should start going, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually just watching one of the weathers last night. They still had drought conditions, especially like north central Vermont. But Burlington had over 4 inches of rain in October, above average. But the lake level hasn't responded much, but I would think it would start responding. And I checked last year, wasn't much higher. It was just up to about 94.5 last year.
But-
hardly higher than it is now.
2 years ago,
That's when we
and
did
I
our
gave
walking.
you that picture. We
Oh, yeah, that's when we walked.
We could have driven two vehicles.
Yeah, that's
That
when
was
we
that
walked.
wide to get to Mosquito
But
Island.
no, lake level is still very, very low. Presumably we'll start responding to the rain.
You want to get an idea how low the water is? Drive by Fairfax Reservoir.
Oh, sure, which I do.
The
which
one
I
on
do.
the right.
Sure, on the right it's. Yeah.
It looks like a
Oh,
mud
yeah.
hole.
Yeah.
Really?
No,
So-
it's like
Okay.
I said, they're still talking drought conditions, but geez, you think, especially if we get a couple more days of rain, we should start getting out of that.
As
Yeah.
we're a mere 3 hours, 56 minutes away from November. What's,
not my
the
favorite month.
Farmer's Almanac or Poor Richard's, whatever. What's the forecast for the
I don't
winter?
even, I'm just so used to Farmer's Almanac talking about a snowy, cold winter. Isn't that what they always seem to say? I
Well,
don't even look at
from
that
what
usually.
I
I think actually the word from the Weather Service was not as cold. A warmer than
Yeah.
average winter, I think is their line. But
well the
do you believe what they say about 3 days from now?
Right.
I think I had a fellow who was chief meteorologist for the Burlington Airport. I think
Oh,
I might
yeah?
have told you guys this. A million years ago, he used to buy cars from us.
Really?
And I was asking him about the weather one time, and he said that in his own little way of checking on things, cold fall, if it's cold, 1 degree or more colder than average, I forgot, September, October, you can figure 88% chance that it's going to be a colder than average winter.
Okay.
1 degree or more warmer fall, 80-something% chance it's going to be a warmer. He said that, and boy, if that's the case, I think we're going to have a real doozy this year because it's been cold since September.
But for the
And-
record, before that, I mean, Burlington had only just 83 days of 80 or above this year.
Yeah, it was hot this summer.
Compared to the record, I think, just set last year of 86.
Yeah.
I mean, we had months of hot weather, so.
Yeah.
Gee, what a surprise it's flipping around for a month or so.
But who knows about the weather. Now, I don't want to brag, but who
But you
picked
will.
the Red Sox to win the World Series?
Yeah, you're more confident than I.
Well, I don't want
You
to
got good words
brag,
from our Red Sox.
and I was going to start with me by saying the very same words. I don't want to brag, but who has been saying all summer that the National League is nothing? Okay.
That
You
is
said
the
that.
truth.
You said that.
And I've been saying all
Yeah.
summer, and I said the Red Sox have a fight, and if they lose against the Yankees, still a good season. They lose against the Stros, still a good season. And I said on this very show last week, if they lose against the Dodgers, then it's a bad season because the National League is just
Weak.
extremely weak
Right.
this year. And the Red Sox, without much effort, just won. And I see you got into your closet tonight and pulled out your Red Sox attire.
And guess where
Yeah.
that nice jacket came
Yeah,
from.
good story behind this jacket.
Yeah, I had that jacket and I gave it to Nick's dad, Greg, I think, long ago,
Yep.
Nick, right?
Yeah.
I forget where I got that. I forget where I got the jacket.
Even less of a clue as you.
Yeah.
Did
Yes.
anybody lower his value as a free agent any more than Manny Machado?
No, really, what a dirtbag player.
Oh, he's
boy.
just
But there will be somebody who will still give
Yeah.
him tens of millions.
Right. I don't think
hope
he
so.
lowered his value as much as, he did make a fool out of himself, but,
But shit.
he also played some great defense, hit a couple of really good, had a couple of good hits.
didn't do very well in the World Series though. What
Yeah,
did
we
he
didn't have a
180?
noteworthy
Right,
World Series.
Right. But I think in the playoffs, he kind of showed, he's a very good two-way player. I think he let his attitude get in the way a lot in the World Series. He was way too cocky in the
He
World
stepped on
Series.
Steve Pierce's foot there
Stepped
on
on
one of
Steve
his
Pierce.
later outings to
the
first
longest
base.
single in the history of the game of baseball when
Right.
he hit it off the left field wall and was walking to first
That's
base.
a
Hey,
sin.
that's insane.
Right. Just striking out to end the game on a terrible pitch. The list goes on.
You guys said, I agree with, but they said when the time to sign, he will still get his money. There will be
He
one
will,
team
yeah.
out
Oh,
there.
he'll get a bunch of money, but I bet he did lose some money.
I don't
think he
I
lost
think there's
any
always
money?
there's
Well,
always that
there
team
may
out
be.
there.
Hey, if I was the Yankees,
Right. I think what will happen
I think
is
there may be less
less
competition for
suitors.
him.
Less suitors for him.
Right.
if I were the Yankees, and I'm Brian Cashman, and I see that, and I'm thinking, boy, do I really want to tie up
Yeah.
$200 million for 10 years or 250
Right.
or 300 million
He'll-
for this? Do you know how ugly that's going to be when it ends?
He's going to get 300, trust me.
And he's
You're saying he's going to get 300 mil?
Yeah.
well, he probably will, but it's
So you backed off your buddy Bryce. Weren't you
Bryce
talking
will-
half a
no.
billion for Bryce for a while?
Well, I was
he's
saying
still
400.
300.
Bryce will get 300 easily.
Yeah, I
And-
think that, the
But-
name that's going to really mess with Manny Machado is one of his own teammates on the LA Dodgers, and that's Brian Dozier. I think that Dozier brings, a little bit of a skill decrease, but if he does in fact hit the free agent market, I think that he brings a very similar kind of play. I think he's still a very serviceable infielder. He just looks like a New York Yankee to me, honestly. I think that he's going to end up with the Yankees along with Patrick Corbin from the Diamondbacks.
Corbin, I think, is a lock.
I think that I think that the Yankees are much better off getting a Brian Dozier to play, because he can play all the same spots, including second base. Machado, we haven't seen a lot of him at second base, so I think Dozier is going to be one of those guys the Yankees look at before Machado.
Maybe they take him like they took Walker this year,
Right.
thinking he'll fill in
Yeah.
all
and
the
you'll get
infield
him
spots.
Brian Dozier's been a much better player in his
He
career,
was
though.
a Twinkie, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's been the best player on the Twins for the last 4 years. Traded at the deadline because he's a free agent at the end of the year, and the Twins were awful. But he's a very serviceable player. He came off the bench a lot for the Dodgers in the World Series. But man, I think that he's not a Manny Machado, but he can hit the ball, he can field the ball really well. I think he looked good in Yankee
And the
pinstripes.
question is, would you rather have Machado at 30, or would you rather have Dozier at 10 and have $20 million left over
Right.
to get a $20 million player will be serviceable.
Right, and Dozier's only 31 years old too, so.
I like Dozier. Now, David, Brett Gardner signed with the Yankees.
Yeah, today.
He had
Oh,
a
is that right?
$12.5 million option that the Yankees declined on.
As they
So
should have.
They agreed on $7.5 million for next season. However, on top of that $7.5 million, he gets $2 million for the decline of the option. So he'll be pocketing $9.5 next year.
I
Not
think-
You
bad-
happy they grabbed him,
Not
Dave?
bad for a 35-year-old.
I think a little bit of that is because of his high character.
Yeah.
Right.
I think, and
Yeah,
his
good guy to have on the team.
Well, David, again, you just said the word. The Yankees are actually a likable ball club. You don't want to put a Machado there and just it just takes one bad banana, right? To
They're,
ruin
not,
lunch.
they're the. I mean, they have no interest in Machado. Do
oh,
they?
they tried to get Machado
Before.
Yeah, I
before.
think
What
it's a
about
different
now?
situation.
Dude,
I don't know.
The Yankees are, as of last week, before all this stuff happened, was the leading contender to get Machado.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Before,
They,
boy.
they have
Isn't-
actually, believe it or not, they have the money to get him.
Is that pitching? I mean, aren't you more concerned
Oh,
about
they
pitching
need
than getting
pitching.
Manny
I think.
Machado?
I think what they're going to do, and don't hold me to it. I have no idea. I don't have a ear to their general manager.
Yeah.
I think this Corbin. I think they're going to sign. I think they'd like to keep Hap, and if they like Hap, nobody will pay more for him than the Yankees.
Right.
I think they should keep Zach Britton. Now, the only trouble with Britton is he could be a closer.
Right.
And-
yeah, he's gonna. I think Britton. There's no chance the Yankees bring him back as long as unless the Yankees kick Chapman out of the closer.
Well, the Red Sox, what do they do? Do they give Kimbrel? Do they buy?
give
I don't think they're
money.
giving
Do
him.
they-
They're spending a ton. They got issues like Bogarts.
Right.
And I'm going to
Betts,
say one
right?
bad
Yeah.
thing about the
Bradley,
Red Sox,
maybe?
right? The only dark side to me on this winning the
Best
World
team the
Series,
money can buy.
right?
You know.
They were $40 million over the salary cap this year, and you know, sport is sport. If I'm, it's not a sport.
I mean, I readily acknowledge
Right.
that
They
issue.
were-
Well, Kimbrel would.
Must be
should
nice
he
to have
take the
billions of dollars to
qualifying
spend.
offer?
What was
If
it, like 14,
it's going to be 18.
18.
He won't. The thing is, he won't take it because he's assuming he'll get a long-term mega bucks
Right.
contract.
Can I just point out the nature of the changing of baseball? The whatever award it was called, the top relief
Reliever,
pitchers.
It's in sporting. Was
Roll
it the
aids.
sporting
He used to be
news?
the
Okay,
roll
so
aids.
Be the roll aids reliever. Now Diaz from Seattle, what nobody knows about. If you walked in the studio right now, you wouldn't recognize him.
Yeah.
He had 57 saves. He ended up getting the
Yep. Makes sense.
relief pitcher. However, this was very striking. In the National League, it was Josh Hader from the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yes.
He was very good.
And Josh Hader came in whenever they needed.
A hand.
They were
He was
in
like
trouble.
Andrew Miller.
He was the true fire. Hader could have came in the sixth inning, could have came in
Right.
the eighth inning, and he pitched great. And to me, Hader is a more valuable player
Hader's
than a
good.
Diaz, given
Right.
these
He's good.
false
Yep.
statistics.
Now and yeah, I just don't think that it's worth for the Red Sox to pay the money to Kimbrel
And again,
because
from what we saw from Kimbrel in the last month or two, I mean, that's hardly giving me encouragement to pay the guy mega bucks. He had a
Right.
pretty shaky month or
and
two.
you know they're tied up so much with money. It's just one of those situations where I don't think the closer's as important as it was,
No,
3-4
Nighthawk-
years ago.
Nighthawk's been preaching that
I
for
think
forever.
that I think that the Red Sox have guys that are built to be closers right now in the bullpen with Joe Kelly or Ryan Brazier. I think either one
Matt-
of those.
Matt Barnes
Matt
gets
Barnes
there.
could
Well,
as
Kelly's
well.
a free agent too.
Well, I think Kelly will be
Kelly's
back.
a free agent.
Kelly will get
Matt
some
Barnes
money,
is getting some.
Yeah,
I'm not spending mega bucks.
I
Hey,
think
thanks for a
for-
great job, but see ya.
I'll give Joe Kelly $6 million to be the closer before I give Kimbrel 12, 13.
Boy, Joe Kelly resurrected himself big time.
Boy, he
at
was
the
great.
end.
Yeah,
he was
I mean Joe Kelly in the World Series earned himself about $5 million.
How about Evaldi? How much did he earn for himself?
What a great
Evaldi
effort
earned
by-
himself a $10-12 million
What a
contract.
great
Have
effort
you
by
guys
Evaldi.
heard or read anything about what he wants to do this winter?
I don't think Evaldi will be back because I don't think the Red Sox will be afford to pay
I'm
him.
hearing mixed feelings about that.
There's going to be a bidding war between
Where's
him.
he
Yeah.
from? Is he a New England
I believe
guy?
he's
I don't think
Hey,
so.
he could get. I think
not
he's
sure.
as good as Porcello, and Porcello got a $80 million contract.
Right.
The
for
concern
5
about
years?
him is just,
Yeah,
two Tommy
Eovaldi's
Johns
from
and
Houston.
stuff. You worry a little bit about his own.
I
maybe.
think that Eovaldi could be going to Houston. The Astros are losing Dallas Keuchel
Yep.
in all likelihood. Eovaldi's a Houston guy. The Texas or the Astros, they're going to be in a situation where they want to. They're going to be ready to spend because they didn't meet the goal that they had this year. I think Eovaldi could go there. I think maybe even the Yankees are another option because especially how the Red Sox and Yankees have been.
Yeah.
One of the players on the opposing team in a contract year has a big season.
that'll be
A lot of
interesting.
times they go to the other team.
Yeah.
So I think
You can have one of them back. Jacoby Ellsbury
Well, David,
is
So we're happy.
supposedly all better.
Thank you for
thanks for
taking
bringing him up, because after I saw
Who's sure the Red
Gardner
Sox
sign
will.
today, I said, well, what about my old buddy?
He's all better now, according to Scott
first round
Boras.
draft
Oh,
pick
sure,
of
sure
the
he
Red
is.
Describe
Sox.
Scott Boras.
First round pick, 2005 by the Red Sox. I said, wonder what he's got left. I thought he had 1 year left.
$48 million.
He's got 2 years left at 21 point whatever for 2019, 2020.
Wow.
Plus he's got
Like a $7 or $8 million option in it.
an option. I can't remember, it was
For
4 or 5
the
million.
third year.
Well, the third year, Yankees obviously will decline his option, but they're
they
going to
have
have
to
to
pay
shell
him
out $4 or
$7.
$5 million. So this guy is going to be getting close to $50 million.
Did he get $150 million? Was that what they paid him?
It sounds about
Yeah,
right.
sounds about right. Maybe.
yeah.
It could-
What a
There were those
bad
who were
deal
bitter.
that
I
was.
won't mention names. There were those who were bitter that the Red Sox didn't
Oh, yeah.
pay him
well,
that much money.
He's such a likable guy.
He is, and he
he's
had- he did- he
he's
had a-
35 years old.
Did a great job for the Sox.
Wow. I mean,
Well, likable.
They
guy.
could. Well, they'll find out what they got in spring training.
Right.
If he's serviceable and he's good, they'll certainly keep him and play him.
but when you say play him, where?
Well, you really Stanton really should only be playing DH.
Is that right? So not a
Stanton's
good
not a very
outfielder.
good fielder. No.
If I'm the honestly, I know this sounds crazy. You probably won't like it. If I'm the Yankees, I'm shopping Giancarlo Stanton.
Oh,
this
I would get
offseason.
rid of him in a heartbeat.
Is that,
Okay.
would you really?
Oh yeah, the guy's
really?
awful.
I'll tell you what.
I wouldn't. No.
Thank you for calling him Giancarlo.
He changed,
talking about Mike?
Didn't he change his first name?
Mike, yeah, it used to be Mike, and then he changed
Yeah.
it to Giancarlo.
I'll tell you what.
Is that right? So you're that. You're down on.
Oh,
him,
I'd
huh?
get rid of him, but the Yankees aren't
They
that
were saying
sour on him.
Judge and Stanton are too much alike. That they really. I've heard this quite a
Yeah.
bit already. That
I
Giancarlo should
think Judge
be
is
traded.
twice the ball player
Really?
Giancarlo Stanton.
What they've
is.
got to do, if I were the Yankees, and if I were any of these other teams,
If I was king for the day, go ahead.
I would tell my batting coach, you put together a highlight reel of Andrew Benintendi and Mookie Betts, and you show how hitting is supposed to be, and how you hit with 2 strikes,
Yeah.
and how you hit with 2 outs, and how you shorten your swing up, and you don't strike out 250 times a season, and because the Red Sox, what I am so happy about, the Red Sox won on old-fashioned
Yep.
regular baseball.
Right.
They not only hit to all fields. Look at that hit that Sandy Leon had. I forgot what game it was. It was just
Yep.
just stuck the bat on it and hit it to second base.
All right.
With all the shifts and all that, if everybody did that, they'd all be all done with the shifts.
Right. Yeah, the Red Sox played fantastic baseball. I mean,
I think they're the best Red Sox team ever. They aren't the best team ever.
I think
You're
they're
not gonna
top
concede
5.
your long ago Yankees team, are you?
Well, you got the 27 Yankees, but I think the best team in
Pretty good team.
our collective history has to be the 98
Yeah,
to
98,
2003
right.
Yankees. I mean,
Yeah.
they won 4 World Series. They were in 6 World Series.
Right.
I mean, that was a really good.
Yeah. I think that, yeah, I mean, Boston just played the game the way
The
way it's got to be played. Nothing's flashy about what they do. They just play really smart. I mean, you see all the time aggressive base running. A ball's thrown to third. Instead of, you have a guy on first, he's
Absolutely.
head for second.
Great.
I
Some
mean,
great
just heads
defense,
up
outfield
everywhere.
defense.
Fantastic defense. They didn't strike out a whole lot. They put the ball in play. JD Martinez put it perfectly. A few times he said this in the playoffs. He said, "Listen, we know that we have a bunch of guys on this team who can hit home runs, but we're not sluggers, we're hitters. And
He's
that's
a great hitter, that
right,
guy.
and that's
Talk
the
about
big
going to
difference.
all
The
field.
Yankees
Yes.
have
Majority
sluggers.
of
The
the homers
Yankees
are
don't
center
have
and right.
hitters.
They got to learn to hit with 2 outs. I can't
You look at
tell
what the
how-
Red Sox did with 2 outs in the whole playoffs.
They went crazy with 2 outs.
Do you know how many
Incredible.
games I listened to where the Yankees would get a leadoff double
Yeah.
Yeah.
and a guy wouldn't score?
Yeah.
Matter of fact, a lot of times he wouldn't even get to third base.
Yeah. No, that's the most aggravating thing to me.
Right.
You get to third base,
Yeah,
1 out.
That's a killer.
Play baseball.
Right.
Hit it to the right side or hit a
Right.
fly ball. That's it. You don't
Yeah.
need. We don't need a hit from you.
Yeah.
No, the Red Sox, so they got some issues to deal with.
Well, they have some big
But
big
dude,
decisions
is
to deal
finances an issue with the Red Sox? Do they
No.
carry their $40 million over the cap?
with. Well, but they may be looking. I wish I didn't have time to go home. I left a bunch of stuff at home. But they're free agent. They have Bogarts. They've got a lot of money decisions to deal with. It looks
Right.
like if they wanted to
free-
keep,
Not this year.
Well,
Next year.
okay, so
they're
but
getting close.
the
to
free agents for this free agent situation for the Red Sox is kind of complicated. It's that your unrestricted guys are Ian Kinsler, Craig Kimbrell, Drew Pomeranz, Steve Pearce, Joe Kelly,
Pomeranz
Evaldi,
gone.
and Phillips. Those are the guys who are unrestricted free agents.
But they're
your
thinking
regular guys.
maybe trying to do some long terms with some of their stars, right?
you have your stars Andrew Benintendi, Mookie Betts, Xander Bogaerts, Jackie Bradley. Those guys are all
Like a year-
arbitration eligible.
Maybe
So-
1 or 2 years left.
Right. So these guys,
But
2 to
arbitration, much more money.
1 to 3 years down the line, they're going to be, at that time where they've played in the league for 6 years, so they're a free agent.
Yeah.
The Red Sox still might try to. They'll probably try to get these guys locked up on long-term deals now while they can, but they are technically under team control until sometime
But
in
money,
the
but
middle
money's
of December.
money's a huge issue.
They're already they're $180 million right now.
Oh yeah, no, I'm saying money must be nice to have.
Yeah. And
No,
like
money's
I said,
an
when
issue.
the playoffs started, the Red Sox they started the year, I believe, at 236, and the Oakland A's were at $66 million.
Yeah, no, that's I'm the
Hey,
first to say
But the Red
that's
Sox
insane.
also have to conserve themselves with J.D. Martinez. Say he has an off year next year, he only gets 115 RBIs. Okay, he had 130 this year, but 115 RBIs is still worth $30 million a year. He's only getting $22 million.
And again, he's got an opt-out
He's got an
after
opt-out
next year.
After next year. And that was, thanks, Nick, that was after we had an argument for about a half hour on the show about Martinez. You said, oh, by the way, he has an opt-out next year. And it just,
Hey,
Yeah,
if
I
you
think
want to
it's
feel
money.
good,
They got money.
$18 million a year salary is going to Pablo Sandoval, who the Giants
Right.
got him back for $500,000.
right,
Or is that half a mil?
right, he gets the minimum wage at $565,000.
Thank you for reminding me about Pablo.
And Pablo actually played okay this year for the Giants.
I mean, serviceable
Yeah,
guy.
if you got time.
How much money are they
Well,
paying
we're to
Hanley
Hanley. I was
Ramirez?
about to mention
Oh,
Hanley
he was
myself.
in the news, and I didn't write it down.
Really?
Did
He's working out now.
Does he
I'm
wanna
just
play- does he
assuming
wanna play again?
He went home and just smoked some cigars and drank a bunch of gin and tonics all summer.
But does he want to play
He
again?
wants to play, and he's
Really?
getting himself in shape and looking for an invite.
Again, kudos to Cora. I mean, Cora, talk about a magical. My only concern about Alex Cora is what does this guy ever do for an encore?
He's
How can
like
things
Joe
ever
T-
get better?
Do you remember
Torre. Joe
Joe
had one of
Torre,
those seasons.
1976
Yeah.
or 96? Everything he did, he had his brother was in the hospital. This whole story with the Red Sox and Cora
Unreal.
is the same thing. Who could not like that Red Sox team?
But the thing I remember about
That's
Joe
nice.
Torre,
Nice comments.
great manager with the Yankees. People
Yeah.
forget he managed the Atlanta Braves, a cellar-dweller team for a number of years, and was fired.
And the Mets too.
That's right, did the Mets.
And the Mets, too.
No success. I mean,
Why did the
having
Yankees,
talent matters.
Yankees saw something in him? Why did the
Hey,
again? Those are lousy teams.
Hey,
of
back
course, right?
then, hey, you know who they fired before they got Joe Torre? My friend from Baltimore.
Buck
Oh,
Showalter.
it's
Buck
all right,
Showalter.
Buck.
Well, I'll give you another one.
Is
One
Buck
of my
still in Baltimore? Is he still
No,
there?
he
No,
was
they
fired.
can't.
Yeah.
one of my favorite guys, Terry Francona. Really top 3 manager in all of
Such a
baseball.
likable guy.
He started out as manager of the Phillies, last place team for
Yeah.
a number of years, and they canned him. Again, talent matters.
Oh,
Right.
it makes a big difference. But the it'll be interesting to see what happens, especially with the Red Sox, because if you look at between the Red Sox and the Yankees and Houston, all three of those teams, if Benintendi doesn't catch that fly ball in the Houston game,
Right.
that game they could have come back, won the game. Who knows?
And what
If
about
Gary Sanchez hits that ball 10 feet further,
Yeah.
and the Yankees win that game, who knows? Especially in a 3 out of 5, we could be having a whole different conversation. But this was the Red Sox year. It was magical for them. Everything.
And then flipped even to the Dodgers and stuff. I mean, Ian Kinsler, he was, we could have been a Bill Buckner reincarnated.
Oh, that
here.
could have turned
Had they
bad.
not, they're down 4-4
Is that when he
had they not
slipped on
come
the
from
infield?
behind.
You talk
Yeah.
about that play?
No, that- I mean, he would have been
I didn't
hung
really blame
forever
him.
on
I mean, it was clear that he slipped on the
He
field.
slipped, but it was still a horrible
Yeah.
throw. Believe me. I mean, Bill Buckner was saying, "Oh, but I may
Well,
have
he
some
had
company."
plenty of time.
Had they ended up losing the series.
Because that game, when you go ahead in the 13th inning, you think you're going to win the game.
Yeah.
Right.
And speaking of, what about Nate? I love the Herald's got the Globe's got a relatively new columnist, Tara Sullivan, very good, but she heaps praise on Mr. Evaldi here. I'll read just a couple graphs. This is top of the sports page today. Evaldi outing not lost in title. With one mistake pitch, Nathan Evaldi lost a game, but he may have won the Red Sox a World Series. Ask yourself this: was there any moment bigger, any stretch more important, any effort more significant than what Evaldi did in Game 3 Friday night in L.A.? Yes, Steve Pearce was a deserving MVP for his 8 RBIs and 4 World Series hits. Yes, David Price, don't let me forget about getting back to him, was an equally deserving candidate for his 2 victories, including the clincher and 1 relief appearance. But if there is an award for MVM, most valuable moment, give that to Evaldi. It was his Herculean effort in the 18-inning marathon loss that reverberated most strongly across the locker room, positively thrumming under the bonds of fraternity, a touchstone in the series to remind these already close-knit players just how much they are willing to do for each other. That was an unbelievable effort.
Yeah, he
Incredible effort.
yeah. No, of all the and not just that. I mean, the 2 or 3 other times he came in relief in the 8th innings.
Yeah, of course, Tony Maserati on Channel 40. Got on. I watched the post game. I fell asleep early in that game. Was wide awake and was wide awake at 3:30 when the game ended after 7 hours and 20 minutes.
I stayed up.
Maserati
I stayed up
got
for the whole
on.
thing. Yeah.
Got on Core's case. Hey, he was going to pitch the next game or two. How can they? I'm going, Tony. You're going to have a robot. Somebody had to be pitching. He
Right.
never touches on that. He said, how could they have him out there that long? What What more do you want out of a pitcher?
Worked out pretty well for him. I mean,
Worked out fine.
I think
And a good move not to probably, although Sale looked great in his 1 inning, but I was very happy,
Right.
And
That's
David
what I'm
Price.
saying about Cora.
Everything worked.
He puts in Price. Price pitches like a pro
Finally.
instead of
Yeah,
like a pud.
Sure did.
He
Although he certainly got his digs in. David Price couldn't stay on the high ground. He had to.
no.
You caught his great. He had a couple of great digs at the media. I tell you who loved that, Felger, who's a pretty edgy guy.
Yep.
Felger thought he said, this is some of the best quotes I've ever heard from anybody. Felger loved this because he loves to throw, darts at people. Oh yeah, Price's great quote was, I've got all the cards now, media. You got nothing. You had it all before, but he threw some pretty good digs in. Maybe you can't.
I mean,
Maybe I
David
can't.
Price pitched well.
Blame him.
but
He
again,
pitched very well.
$31 million a year pitcher.
You'd
And
expect him
his
to pitch
ERA
well.
this year, even after a great second half, was still over 3.5. And I can't wait for Chris Sale, and I think the Red Sox did his
Oh, they did.
option
Yeah,
for
they did.
a mere
16.
13.
I think it was 15. I thought it was 15.
13 and a half.
Something like that.
Whatever. Just
Whatever it is, it's a
say-
bargain.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Okay.
sure.
So I can't
Sure.
wait till this time
Aside
next year.
from concern
Yeah,
about his
when
arm a
Chris
little
12 and a
Sale
half, yeah.
is a free agent, all he has to say is, boy, my ERA is like 2.12.
Whip
That's
under 1.
Right.
I don't think Sale
so
sticks
there's
around.
a guy in this team making 31 million, so I've got to be worth at least 35 million.
You know,
we'll
honestly,
we'll see.
like a year down the road, or I don't know if we're going to be seeing the same Chris
But
Sale
again,
we saw
the
this
arm
year.
is a legit arm
I'm very,
concern
I'm
about him.
very concerned about that shoulder. From what I was hearing, Alex Cora said right before Game 5, he said, "Listen, we can only pitch Chris Sale one more time this year before his arm basically falls off."
Just threw 156 innings this year.
Right, I mean,
so we may not be talking 35.
Listen,
million.
I think that They in hockey they'll talk about, oh, this player they played the entire postseason with a broken leg. Like we all remember what Patrice Bergeron did back in 2013.
Yeah.
I think Chris Sale was in a very similar situation. I wouldn't be surprised if we found out in the next week or two that okay, Chris Sale, in between innings or before games was getting shot up with pain meds before he went on the mound.
I'm just thinking about this for the first time. Do you even think about maybe turning him into a relief pitcher?
That was my next thing.
You might have to.
That might not be the craziest idea.
Chris Sale pitching one inning, I'd almost willing to bet my life his ERA at the end of the year would be under 1.
I mean, look at the Dodgers were in the last inning of the series. Talk about helpless. How helpless did they look?
Well, I don't worry just about his arm. I worry about his overall health.
Yeah.
I mean, because he went to the hospital for, they never said what it was.
No, they never really cut.
Of course, did you hear what he told everybody?
Yeah.
That was because he took out his belly button.
Some
ring.
people, he said
they
it dead
took it.
serious.
But the
Right.
thing about Chris Sale is he has no body.
He's only
not a big
180
guy.
pounds. He's
you
6'6".
throw from
Not a
your
big
butt,
guy.
and he's just nothing. Like the only other pitcher I can think of that was a frail figure was Pedro Martinez. Was a really
He reminds me of,
Yeah,
still
that's a good-
reminds
that's
me
a
a
good
lot of
comparison.
Johnson.
Yeah,
That used
Randy
to pitch.
Johnson.
Randy Johnson.
all right.
Oh, right.
Yankees.
Wasn't Randy
Diamondbacks.
was 6'7".
the big unit? Randy
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
a hell of a lot taller.
Yeah, but Chris Sale.
Chris Sale's no slouch either.
That'll be
he's-
interesting to see what happens next year
Right.
with it between his health and stuff.
Yeah,
They treated him. They took it easy on him, and only to have his inflammation.
I would be
crop up.
Sale's 6'6", so
Oh, is he
Sale
really?
is
He's
6'6"?
6'6"?
yeah, 6'6", 180.
Well,
Did
that
not
big,
know-
the big unit's not a bad comparison.
Yeah,
then.
Is that tall?
Oh yeah, he's the tallest guy in the Sox for
But,
sure. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a major downhill slide for Chris Sale this year, and I'm not cheering for it, but I think that it's definitely among the cards, and I think that it really could affect how much money he gets in
Well, I
free
mean,
agency.
it certainly could.
Hey, he's been. I wish we'd have had him. I've always
caller
liked
here.
that guy. He's a competitor. He's a
Yeah.
great pitcher.
Yeah.
And
Looks like we have a caller.
We have a phone call. Good evening. You're the first caller tonight on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. Go ahead.
Hey, how we doing, gang?
Good.
How are you? You're low volume. Zach, are you aware of the volume?
Can you hear me now?
Now you're good.
There we
You're
go.
good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll just tone up my voice here a little bit.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, it was a great series. So many Red Sox fans and so many, people just love that series. It was fantastic. And you guys are absolutely right about the National League. We would have, if we played the Dodgers 20 times, we would have beat them 15 times. I'm just recapping on some of this. And Machado, he stepped on, it was either Moreland or Pierce once
It was
as well.
Pierce. Yeah, it was Pierce.
Pierce.
And this guy is a dirty, dirty player.
A dirty bird.
And I don't want to hear it's just Manny being Manny. This guy is a bad man, but a very talented athlete. And I read a little piece, and I don't mean to brag, but 3 weeks ago I said he'd be a Yankee. And what I read the other day, you guys probably read the same piece, that all of a sudden the Yankees are kind of lukewarm on him because of his actions during the World Series.
Understandably.
The Yankees are a classy team, a classy outfit, and, you don't want a tarnished image and become the hated team because of a person like Machado. So I think the Yankees and Red Sox should, the GMs, go out to dinner and have a couple of drinks and say, hey, how about neither of us even entertain him? Let him go to another division and, just not even play with Machado in the American League East. And also with Houston, what I read, they were going to re-sign Cucho, and Charlie Martin will be the one leaving, which I would love to sign for a year. Charlie Martin he's 35-ish, but he still has gas in the tank.
the
So
way he
I
pitched
think
it,
he would be a very nice fit in Boston for a year. Another thing, I think Cora, you could argue him with the MVP for the World Series. Every move he made, every pinch hitter he put in, every time he pulled the pitcher, every move he made was right. I mean, this guy, a bit of luck, yes, but what a genius. And it also shows in order to win, you have to have the whole team buying into the program. And these guys did. I mean, they were tight. It seems like the day they got rid of Manny Ramirez, it put a new face on this franchise. And these guys were all like war brothers, you know.
Yeah.
And, they just went on steamrolling. But Cora, to me, I mean, he coached so calmly, not a lot of emotion, but every call he made was correct, you know. So kudos to him. He did a fantastic job. And I think he's the type of manager that can hold the team together where, we have a good opportunity. You can't win the World Series every year, but, you have good opportunities to, be a playoff team. So, I certainly tip my cap to Cora because he did one heck of a job this year.
Right about
it's
that.
not easy managing the Red Sox or the Yankees or the Dodgers. These are very high-profile teams, and any coach, a Yankees skipper, did a great job with the Yankees as well as the Dodgers. So the coaching was very good this year too.
Hats off to Cora. It was actually Cora back in May that went upstairs to Dave Dombrowski's office.
About Hanley.
It was a Cora move.
That
Right.
was addition by subtraction, as you're
That was
fond
the
to
greatest
say.
move the Red Sox
And I think
ever
Dombrowski made it clear, just to cover himself. I think he made it pretty clear. Hey, don't get on my case if this doesn't work out.
Yeah,
he
it was
made it
Cora.
pretty clear. It was Cora, and boy,
And
I
you
had
don't
very
think about
mixed
Cora
feelings
being
about
an
that.
ex-player like that. He knew what a cancer was, and he stepped on it right away.
And what a move for a guy, in his second month as a major league manager.
So Dan
to
Shaughnessy,
come in here
the
and
great Dan
make that kind
Shaughnessy,
of move.
blasted Cora for that. He said, insane move.
No.
He's a great postseason
No.
player. He's a good clubhouse guy. Great move.
When that move
To send him
happened,
packing.
I said then the Red Sox will win.
Well,
right?
the thing is that Cora knew that Ramirez wasn't a good guy. He wasn't going to be like Steve Pearce or Moreland, be happy only playing half the time.
God, Steve Pearce, not too good at pickup. I didn't even know the guy's name.
He's
I
a
don't
free
think.
agent too. He killed the Yankees. There's
me
a guy the Yankees ought to pick up.
I'm pretty sure you're going to see Steve Pearce. Nick, don't you think? Steve Pearce, I got to think, will be back in Boston.
I think
Isn't
he
it
will
hard
too,
to imagine?
yeah.
I mean, geez. the
I
guy had
don't
a-
see. I think that he comes in and either takes Moreland's spot completely or continues to
And he-
platoon with Moreland while he hits against lefties,
Go ahead,
Moreland
caller.
against righties.
Yeah.
Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, what a year.
Yeah,
What a
I
year.
have to agree with you, Duke. He should be back there because, Cora showed you the magic of platooning. And Red, I agree with you. You got like Moreland. He's not a 550 or 600 bat a year type player. He's 350
And did
as
fade
well
a
as
bit.
Pierce.
And faded a bit in the
again,
second half.
Cora magic when he platoons them. These guys seem to come in fresh and hungry. The same with Holt. He'll be back. He'll get his
Love Brock
350 at bats. Nunez, he optioned to come back for
He's
$5
back.
million. He'll get 250, 275 at bats. So it certainly has showed me the way Cora runs that team. And
Caller.
these guys don't mind platooning.
What about Dustin?
It works, and
Is
they're
Dustin-
fresh.
Caller, what do you
Bobby,
think they're going to do with Dustin Pedroia?
Yeah, what do you think? Is Dustin back next year? Is he healthy? What do you think about Dustin?
No, I don't
Guess that remains to
think
be
he
seen.
will be back as we knew him. I don't think he'll play. He's got to think now of long-term effects, He can get out there, maybe play 5-6 weeks and just mess that knee up again. He got a life outside of baseball, too. I would definitely find a job for him within the organization. Kind of ask him, Dustin, what would you
He's
like
got
to
5
do?
years,
Yeah.
4
But
years.
I don't see him on the field. I
Like 4
really,
years.
really don't.
Really?
Through 21.
Interesting. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see because I got to think Dustin right now is sure thinking he wants to be back in the field. I can't speak
Are
to
you
his health.
suggesting the Red Sox? What's he got? Red
What, 3?
He's signed through 2021, so
How much?
Boy. So you talk
over 10
4 more
million.
years,
Yeah,
3 more,
I
three
think
more
he's
years,
close to 15 mil a
Right,
year.
yeah.
And I'll round it off to 40. Would the Red
40,
Sox
50
be
mil.
willing to cut him a check.
Well, look what
before-
they did to Sandoval.
Well, they probably they probably didn't have to pay him this year because they've got
Sean-
But I
insurance.
bet, as I think Bobby suggested, I think if they did that, they might quickly make him like a coach, find some spot for him and stuff. I think he's destined to be a
It's not
coach
his
or
team
manager.
anymore. It just is not his team.
Well, they could do something for him like the
We'll see.
Mets did for Wright. Maybe make a deal with the insurance
But if he's helped, but
company.
he's I was getting a little down on Dustin, but still, nobody's more of a fighter than that guy. Nobody plays the game harder. If he somehow gets his health back, I wouldn't totally rule out Dustin, coming back and doing something. That's hard to
Well,
say.
he could possibly fall in that platoon situation,
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
they're
I-
going to bring back Kinsey.
So
though.
it's kind of a wait and see.
I guess
A lot goes on during the winter.
I was happy they picked him up. but,
December meetings and everything. So, we'll see. He's certainly a good guy to have around,
Yeah, I mean, he'll definitely still be in
But
the
again,
dugout.
Kimbrel,
being
I
the same,
think,
but-
will be gone for sure. I would bet
Yeah, I
anything
think so.
on it.
I think
And I
so.
thought Cora was very, very, very kind to him, putting him back in after he doesn't pitch well, putting him back in again. Cora is a professional. He doesn't get down on his players. If something goes wrong, he takes the blame. I can't say enough good things about Cora. He's
And his
just a
body
great
language
man.
in
But
the
again,
dugout.
Kelly, it's got me scratching my head. He started out so good, then he just the second half fell off the planet Earth. Then during the World Series, picked himself back up. So it's like, geez, which Joe Kelly, will I see next year? Do I re-sign him and get the first half in the World Series, Joe Kelly, or do I get the second half of the year? But
Good
again,
question.
Nighthawk, like you say, closers, I wouldn't pay much. Edwin Diaz, and we've got to be able to find a guy that can pitch, the 8th or 9th inning, or do it by committee. And a good way to get away from that is be up by 3 or 4 runs where you don't need a closer,
Yeah. And
So
Caller,
it'll be interesting.
before you go,
Yeah, for sure.
I know you're a Rams fan. They're by far the most exciting team in football.
By far aren't they by far the best team in
Well, I'm
football?
hoping for Patriot Rams Super Bowl. But the 3 best football games I've seen all year, the Rams were involved.
Right.
The Sunday night game against Green Bay was a terrific game.
I didn't see that.
And I can't remember, the Rams played a couple weeks ago. It was a high-scoring affair, but what a great
team. Yeah.
Didn't they just pick up some guy too,
Yeah,
some
they
pass
did.
rusher?
They
Yeah,
they picked up somebody today, right?
Dante Fowler Jr.
Yes.
Wow.
He's pretty good, isn't he?
Jaguars. He was like
Yeah.
the third
Oh, yeah.
overall pick in
Excellent
2015.
The Rams,
Great
they're
team.
just fun to watch. And Caller, before you go, thanks for picking Duke's kayaks up.
Believe me, I was about to thank Bobby. Thanks for all your efforts down on the lakefront. You're so good to me, and Hawk, thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure.
You guys
I
treat
enjoy
me so
doing
well.
it.
It's ridiculous.
Put
Thank
his
you.
kayaks away, Caller, yesterday.
Thank you very
and
much.
wrapped them and nice and secure.
Bobby, thanks a bunch. You're more than
You know,
than
it's
good
always
to me.
a sad time of the year when you put your summer toys away.
Yeah.
You think of that long winter ahead, but, it's not like we haven't done this for a few years, so
Thank you very much. You're so good to me. Thank you.
Thanks, Caller.
you're very welcome.
Good night.
Okay, have a good night. Great show, guys.
Thanks for
Thank
calling.
you.
We'll see you.
Now, the Nats did sign a decent relief pitcher, did not pitch this past year due to a Tommy John. They signed Trevor Rosenthal
Yep.
to a
He was a good pitcher before he had
Yeah,
Tommy John. So
So we'll see. 1 year, $7 million. With a second year, $7 million, but with bonuses that could make up to 28. But he's a Scott Boras client, where these 28 million, it's not going to happen. But it was good pickup. If he pitches well for Washington this year, he could go pitch, get a decent contract next year. And the Nats, and they have a trouble bullpen, but they have one of the better closers in Sean Doolittle. So it could be a two-headed monster here. So that's kind of like the first big signing in the free agency this year. But this is my favorite time of the year for baseball. I love
Yeah.
You love off-season.
I love Hot Stove League, and 80% of the stuff we're probably talking about is crap. But it's
Right.
I like talking rumors.
Like draft. How about all the attention the draft gets? Talk about
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yep.
So,
football draft.
yeah. Well, football, we could go right there. And somebody asked me the other day, why don't you talk about the Patriots that much? Well, there's really not much to talk about in New England. They just win every week.
Yeah.
I'm
There's
happy
really-
to talk about him, but I got these two Giants guys who.
Well, last week, and we won't spend a half hour on the offensive line.
Right, pretty grim
Eli was
game,
sacked
huh?
7 times. He's been sacked more times already this year than was all of last year.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The great Shaquan Barkley, and he is great. Okay, we'll leave Eli out of the picture. He ran 13 times for
37 yards or
38
something?
yards for
38.
2.9 an hour. And this is a young stud. It's just terrible. Now, Eli, believe it or not, has actually got the 4th most passing yards in football
That's
this
right.
year. You know, he
Does he?
still,
Does he
yeah,
really?
he still can
Really?
play. And 5 losses of the Giants this year have been 7 points or less. However, a loss is a loss. That's the difference between a good team and a bad team.
Well, the other thing, one of the real weak stats they've got though is I think 3 or 4 of their touchdowns have all been in the last 15 seconds. Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah, they stink, and their defense plays just good enough to lose close games.
And everybody's been
I'm surprised
shouting
they
out.
didn't get rid of more guys. I wouldn't get rid of Landon Collins either. I like Landon
He'll
Collins.
be a free agent after next year.
Yeah.
They were putting him out there for a 2nd-round pick, but I like Collins a lot. So the Giants,
I would have gotten rid of Beckham though.
yeah.
Did you guys hear what happened with Kyle
That's
Lauletta?
my next
Okay.
Yeah.
topic. So we're on a bye this week.
Yeah,
So
I heard
everybody's
that.
saying give them first team reps. Good. I think they played the Niners, a bad
Yeah.
team now without Garoppolo, and start him in 2 weeks. So yesterday morning, this is from the Weehawken Police Department down in Jersey.
Yeah.
This morning at approximately 8 a.m.
this is pretty weird.
Weehawken police arrested Mr. Kyle Lauletta for various motor vehicle and related disorderly persons offenses. Mr. Lauletta was observed by officers operating his 2017 Jaguar. Surprise,
Wow.
surprise, in a dangerous manner in a heavy traffic near the Pleasant Avenue approach to Route 495. Upon being directed by an officer to continue in his marked lane, Mr. Lauletta
Do you know who I am?
attempted to evade him, making a legal turn and continuing towards Route 495, almost striking the officer. Lauletta was eventually stopped by another officer and refused various instructions to produce his driving credentials and exit his vehicle. He was then arrested and charged with eluding
Idiot.
police, a 3rd-degree crime, obstructing administration of law, and resisting arrest, which are all disorderly persons offenses. Motor vehicle charges are for reckless driving, disregarding an officer's directions, improper turn in a marked traffic lane, and failure to remain in a marked lane. And upon further investigation, it was learned that the 2017 Jaguar registered to Lauletta was involved in a similar incident at the same location the day before.
I'm sorry, he was involved in a similar incident? So he said?
Before.
No, I didn't hear
Yeah.
that.
And it also cost here severe traffic congestion. Anywhere around that area is nasty.
Was he drunk or
It was in the morning. He was on his way.
what's
to
he
the,
doing?
To the
Hot
ball.
rodding it or?
But that is, you know.
How can you be-
And this
how can you
guy was
be
as
that
pure as the
stupid?
driven snow, and that definitely shines a different light on him. And he's supposed to be our quarterback.
You know who that reminds me of? Mr. Okafor. Remember the trouble he got into Philadelphia? He got the
yeah.
right- And at Duke, he was fine. Obviously, just there for a few months at Duke, he sounded like the best guy in the world.
And I still think Manning has. Listen, Drew Brees is 39 years old. Manning's only 37. I still think Manning is a much better than average quarterback. But again, as we
That
say,
line is so bad.
Pretty
though.
sad team, though.
right,
Huh?
yeah, we sit here. We do have the first pick in April, but and I don't see things improving. Do we have a chance against the Niners? You know, out of the bye, yeah, but you know, it's been a nasty year.
Right.
The part of good news is the G-men picked up a decent player today off waivers. Of course, they had the first pick in waivers. When the Rams picked up Dante Fowler Jr. yesterday, there were a body too much, so they had to get rid of someone. So they cut Jamon Brown and unless you're a Rams fan, you probably don't know about him. He was a third-round pick by the Rams out of Louisville in 2015, and it was a 16-game starter last year for the Rams. However, he was suspended 2 games at the beginning of the season for violating the league's substance abuse policy and did not get his job back. So
Was he a lineman?
yeah, he's a right guard,
Oh.
and that's a position you're going to be able to slide in, carelessly. So good pick.
You find an
pick for the
outfit,
Giants.
you find a offensive lineman out there. You do something if you're the Giants. So
That is one of the benefits of being the worst team in football. Is
Oh, they are, too.
you can pick up bodies like this, and the guy might be worth 4th-round pick that we'll save next year.
Speaking of the Pats, I don't think we're going to see Buffalo on Monday Night Football for probably another
No.
decade or
Oh.
maybe another half century.
Listen,
So-
what the heck is going through their mind? They put the Giants on last week, okay?
No, they were on the previous week.
Right, and the Buffalo Bills this week.
Well, of course, they're
What
making the schedule
are-
a little ahead of time.
But again, I was talking to someone the other day. Who are the network executives drinking their latte saying, boy, we really got to get the Giants?
Well, Monday Night Football
But
has.
how does that work?
The
Can the Monday,
Giants-
can they
But
they can't pick.
Listen, the Giants are on primetime TV 4 times this year. They were 3-13 last year. It's the second worst record in football last year.
Yeah, but they are the New York Giants.
Yeah,
The Patriots, I was talking to our buddy Joe yesterday, they're primetime Patriots.
they've got
They're
the Sun.
on
For the record, they
nighttime.
got a good Sunday night game against Green Bay at
Yeah.
Gillette.
Now, how many times is New England playing primetime?
I think this is their maybe the 5th straight week, but then they go back to some
right,
Sunday
but
at ones.
is that crazy
Right.
or what?
I was listening
At Tennessee,
today.
at Minnesota, the next 2 Sundays. I think.
Something that was pretty interesting. I was listening today to NFL Network on Sirius, and somebody was saying that when they were with Bill Belichick, when they were coaching, Bill Belichick says we don't need to beat 30 teams or 32 teams. We only need to be in the top 7 or 8 because invariably you only have 7 or 8 solid teams. Everybody else is
right.
rebuilding or doing something. And if you look at it, that's really the truth. Because you only need to be the top 7 or 8.
Although
And-
it's not nice, obviously, to get home and to be good enough to get home field advantage
Well,
as the Patriots
yeah.
usually do. I mean, that doesn't
without
hurt.
thinking, who is the top team to wrestle the Patriots for the Super Bowl game?
Well, I mean, you're talking about, I mean,
In the AFC.
No, in the AFC.
Nobody.
Right? I can't think of it.
Well,
top of my head.
Kansas City still looks like
Kansas
a pretty,
City,
Kansas
I
City's
forgot.
a
They
pretty
look pretty
decent
good.
team.
Right.
Kansas City and the Pats certainly look like the 2 top teams now.
But poor Reed, what's his playoff record? The coach
no,
of the.
Mr.
Andy
yeah,
Reid,
I don't think the Chiefs are any sort of threat to the Patriots in the playoffs, especially since that game will most likely go through Foxborough.
No, I wouldn't.
Well, that Mahomes
Mr.
is pretty
Mahomes
good.
is playing some pretty
He's good,
ball.
but you send a rookie quarterback to Foxborough in January.
Yeah.
Good luck. That's all I can say.
Well, what's Kansas City? Do they have one loss?
Just for the
One
The
loss.
Pats.
Patriots have 2.
Yeah,
So
for the
they
record.
Go through Arrowhead Stadium.
Don't assume that game's.
Yeah, but I mean,
The Pats have
if
the
they do,
tiebreaker,
if they do end
obviously.
up tied, the Pats have the tiebreaker. I don't think the Cleveland or
And the
They'll win out,
Patriots
yeah.
have Packers Sunday night.
Sunday night.
And Packers are coming off a tough loss against the Rams, so I don't
Good-
think
good
Aaron
team.
Rodgers
Yeah.
wants to lose 2 in a row. So the Patriots
yeah.
could have 3 losses.
I don't know if Aaron Rodgers
Certainly
has
could.
anything to say about whether or not they
Certainly could.
lose 3 in a row. I don't think the Packers are good enough to
Yeah.
beat a
Then
top
their next
team.
game, the Pats
Listen.
are at Tennessee against old friend
I
Mike
may be
Vrabel.
the only guy, but I've always thought Aaron Rodgers is overrated. I think he's
Oh, boy,
Boy,
you're
you
pushing
hear a
it.
lot of people who
I-
think he's ahead
Oh,
of
I know they
Brady.
do.
even.
Yeah.
I don't know.
know
After your
overrated.
comments last week on Eli Manning, and now you're calling
Well, hey,
Rodgers
listen,
overrated? I
Rodgers
don't
is a
know.
great quarterback, but he's not a top 3 quarterback.
Oh, he most certainly is.
He's a fantasy quarterback. He's won 1 Super Bowl in his career.
See, I would.
That's 'cause he's had awful
Hawk. I hate
teams.
to take Junior's side,
Junior.
but
Okay.
if you're going to talk about a guy who's really overrated, I think it's Drew Brees.
All right,
Because
overrated.
He's got one
Really?
Super Bowl.
right, but
Got some good stats.
he's got a lot of stats. But let me tell you, if the game's on the line and there's a minute to go, and you're losing by a touchdown, I take Aaron Rodgers. That guy's had more escapes than Houdini.
Now, the game the other night when Ty Montgomery ran the ball out of the end zone and fumbled because I think the Rams got a field goal to go ahead, but there was like 2 minutes left in the game, and I went, you don't give Rodgers
And then they
that
fumbled.
much time and a couple timeouts remaining. And you watch when players bring the ball out of the end zone. It looks like they're running for a million miles, and they might get to the 27 on a good. So it's not worth to even bring the ball out. Just take it to the 25. Well, of course, he fumbled. LA got the ball and just.
When was the last time there was a kickoff or a punt that didn't have a penalty on it?
Yeah. I mean, that's the
terrible.
worst thing that's happened to football. I miss the good old-fashioned kickoff returns. So, of course, Ty Montgomery. What team's he on now, Red?
I'm not sure. I don't think he's on the Packers.
No.
They traded him to Baltimore yesterday
I read a tweet yesterday.
for a 7th-round pick.
For a bag
I read a
of
tweet yesterday
donuts.
that said Ty Montgomery's been traded from the Packers to the Packers, and I kind of laughed at it, and then I never really looked at who he actually got traded to.
It was the Ravens
Yeah.
he got traded to. So, but the downside of being a Giant fan, among many things, is you kind of lose the flavor of football because every game on TV is meaningless to me as a Giant fan because I used to watch every Eagle, every Cowboy game, and I had an emotional investment. I wanted them to lose. But now, like the Packer-Patriot game is a good football game for
Right.
a football fan. But, we have a
You know what you got to watch if you want to feel better? You have to watch. I watched a Football Life. I'm not sure if it was Monday night or Sunday night or whenever it was. The one with Lawrence Taylor. And then they followed that with the one on Tom Coughlin.
Okay, I didn't see the.
Those make
What was this on?
Lawrence Taylor.
What was it on?
NFL Network. They do this
I was-
thing
Yeah.
of Football Life. And
Wow.
when you look at what Lawrence Taylor did,
What a player!
what a player.
Can you make the case? I mean, best player ever.
Best
Yeah.
defensive player ever.
Best defensive
and probably
player ever.
one of the worst human beings ever.
And out of University of North Carolina
Yeah.
at Chapel Hill.
Yep.
Hey, I
He's
remember
not
that.
Well, David, remember the
that right?
special we
Best
saw
defensive
2-3
player.
years ago?
Yeah.
His daughter was getting married. His daughter asked his stepfather to
Not-
bring him down the aisle.
Is that right?
Not
Wow.
him. I mean, that has to be the worst feeling if you're a father to have your stepfather.
Yeah.
Well,
hurts.
in
That
the NFL Network show, they had a thing with his wife, and she goes,
Nice lady too.
"Yes."
Yeah.
She goes, "Well, you
Right.
know, when we first got married, of course, the real issue was that she was still in North Carolina, and he was in New Jersey all by himself."
All right.
So she goes, "The Lawrence Taylor I knew never would have done drugs, but." She wasn't there, and then when she moved up to New Jersey, all of a sudden she's finding powder and stuff, and he goes, "Oh, it's some of the other guys." And she said, "It didn't take me long to figure out what he was doing."
As great as he was, he could have been a greater player. He was a cokehead, big time, and I think the Giants turned their heads. I think they knew about the problem.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Two things
bet they
weren't
turned
still.
their
He
heads.
loves coke and he loves hookers. Those are his main interests.
But he,
Because he got arrested a couple years ago being with a 16-year-old.
well, she looked like she was 18.
That's what he said, but she said she
I had no idea.
That
she
won't
was
hold up in
16.
court,
I would
bud.
have sworn she was 18.
Yeah.
Right.
No, he certainly has spent a lot of time on the seedy side of life.
So how many great years did he have? Talking like a 10 or
He was
so?
probably there for a dozen years, and probably 9 out of 10.
He had 13 years.
13.
Is that right?
And of course, he got suspended for drugs, I think, twice.
Did he?
No.
And his, of course, his first couple seasons with the Giants were just incredible. He could score all by himself on defense.
All right.
No.
I don't know numbers, but number 64, right? And
No,
number,
56.
no,
56.
sorry,
Yeah.
that's right.
64 was Jim Burt.
Sorry about that. 50. Sorry.
When he
Lauren.
was drafted, he was the second overall pick.
56.
Who was the guy picked ahead of him?
Oh, is that right? He's second.
George
overall pick?
Rogers.
You got it. George Rogers,
Never heard the
running
name.
back.
Not a bad.
He was a good
back.
player, but he won Lawrence
But
Taylor.
Taylor Saints. Yeah.
And
Wow.
the thing is that somebody was talking to Belichick, and they were doing a thing on somebody, and they said, "Well, is he as good as Lawrence Taylor?" And Belichick
Yeah.
goes, "No. There's only one Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence Taylor and everybody else."
I've got
He
a half
he
hour
was
left.
unreal.
There's a couple topics, but David, I want to ask you this. I didn't have time to read the whole article. Does it mean anything? General Motors announced today that 18,000 salaried employees, the white collar workers, are going to be laid off. They're going to give them a buyout package, and they're afraid that not enough people are going to take the buyout package.
Wow, that's a lot.
So, are you aware of this,
18,000
David?
world-
I wasn't, but
What does this mean? That's
I think a lot of it is because their stock price has not been doing very well. Of course, stock went up today about 10% because they had really good results. They made a lot of money in the third quarter. But of course, I think what they do, these car companies, they play with their statements a little bit because they can take charges for a 1 year. Like last year, they lost money in a quarter because they took all their charges when they sold their European unit. But anyway, it's like Tesla. Tesla made money this quarter, first time. But what they did is they didn't pay their suppliers.
okay.
They put their suppliers on 60 days instead of 30 days. So they have like an accounts payable of 600 million.
Yeah. So this news came out late this afternoon.
I
so
didn't-
that's
I didn't
probably
hear
why
that. I'm surprised.
But I wonder is if you're part of that 18,000 and you go to work every single day and you're doing an important job, so you're there Friday working and you're laid off at 5 o'clock that afternoon. Come Monday, you're not there anymore. Who picks up that work? I mean,
If you ask me, they could get rid of a lot of folks.
Yeah.
They have still way too many layers.
like I said, I read the first
Yeah.
paragraph. I didn't have time to read it. Second point here, UVM Board of Trustees met Saturday morning, and they approved the construction of a new basketball arena.
You don't see the
44.
free press, right?
So I don't get the free press. So
press is
front
up?
page.
Front page.
So the price tag, I thought, Dave, was 85. Now it's at 95. And you know when it's done, it's going to be 120.
Well,
Just be happy it somehow gets
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, but that's, you know.
You want a
Also,
quote from the-
They
from the-
were redoing the library at 21 million, the Billings Library. I'm not sure.
well, they've had.
Bailey Howe and Mr. Howe is the Howe names
Right,
being
he's gone.
Oh, is it
jettisoned.
Bailey? I thought it was Bailey that got.
No, I think it's
Howe?
Mr. Howe got jettisoned
But
for
Yeah,
for
past
eugenics,
transgressions.
The only news
I think
I have,
Howe.
and Duke, you can jump on it, is that they plan to start work this winter. And
Yeah.
for 2020, 2 years from now.
2021.
They've had a pretty good. This president here has done a really good job of raising money. They've raised over $500 million.
Yeah, they've
So of course,
Okay.
they've got well, yeah, they've met all their
Okay,
they've met all their
however,
goals for the
for this
the arena,
project
so.
here, they've only raised a third.
Well, that's all they need.
How can I
Well,
give you a
they've
quote?
they've
This is
made all
like-
their
over
goals
for
so
me.
far. Yeah.
No, you're doing fine. This is from the Free Press. Free Press front page story today by Alex Abrami. Anyway, he's quoting UVM athletic director Jeff Shulman, who understandably points to some of the skepticism out there. Quoting, "It's understandable that some folks, given our history with this project, are still cynical, really. But this is very different. The endorsement and approval we got from the board, UVM board, unanimous, I guess, this past weekend, is a final step for us. This is not approval of a concept. This is not a vote of support for the idea. This is approval for us to move forward. I'm very, very confident that we will be under construction this winter and we'll be moving into these new facilities for the 2021 seasons." Remember he said that, but he said you wouldn't think he'd be
Yeah.
that confident
No,
if he
I
really
think it's a
wasn't.
done
Sounds
deal.
like it's happening.
And I
Yeah,
think
it's done.
they've been doing a decent job of getting money.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, he came on 101.3 yesterday. He
Oh,
said,
is that right? You had him
Shulman
on
Yeah.
the
Were you
game?
down there?
I wasn't down there yesterday, but he was in studio there yesterday. He said, "Listen," he took some questions from listeners, and he
that's
said,
good.
"Listen, this is going to happen. It's absolutely, this was the final step. They just need a few permits now. It's either going to start this winter or next summer. But I mean, this is going to happen, and they're actually, kind of a little bit ahead of their fundraising goals. They've met all the checkpoints that they've need to meet so far, and so, he sounded like he was very, very confident that this is actually going to happen. And
No,
I
he
think it
does
will.
sound confident.
Did anybody ask him how come they hired Snedden for another 3 years?
No, but if I was there, I would have.
Yeah, because that's a question that really needed to be asked.
By the way, Jeff, on another matter, yeah,
Right. Yeah. When they lost to that Canadian college, I don't know if you were at that
Laurentian.
game. 4-1.
4-1.
I've sworn off UVM hockey until they get rid of that guy.
Yeah.
I don't
Now,
care
saw
if they put a
Schumann
new
year or
arena.
two
or
ago,
not.
and started talking with him, and he actually sincerely was interested what I had to say.
Yep.
He asked me.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
He asked me,
Yeah, sounds solid.
how would you feel? And I've been a season ticket holder for
Right.
nearly 35 years. How would you feel if we refurbished Gutterson versus a multi-arena basketball and hockey in the same place? And I pretty much just told him, I said, listen, all I want is my own seat, a real seat, not a bleacher, and I want some leg room. You
Yeah.
give me that, I'll be happy. Because it's what's the word?
Antiquated?
Thank you, David.
Yeah.
Gutterson is. It's a unique building.
I love being in
You've
there.
never
Right.
seen anything like that. And just the old wood in that place.
Yeah, wood's
They
great.
did
Yeah,
a terrific
the
like-
ceiling
I
in
like
that
the
place
when
is
they,
beautiful.
Right, when they
Took it
built that
50
place
years
in
ago, right?
63,
Yeah.
they did a terrific job. And that wood is just, it's
Oh, yeah.
I like
it is
being
good.
in there.
So if they put the seats in, now,
I'm not.
the Stafford Arena across the pond in Plattsburgh, they used to have bleachers about 5 years ago. They put all seats in there.
Is that at Plattsburgh State?
Yeah.
Decrease
Yeah.
attendance, but you don't want not as many
What's
people.
what's capacity in there? Like 25, 3,
It
something like
probably
that?
was close to that when they had bleachers. It probably knocked it down to 18.
No,
but
really?
when I go over there, it's never a full
Right.
arena. But
Right.
it just changed the whole character of that place. And the Stafford was built in the early 70s. Yeah, Gutterson's probably does have some life in it. And I'm assuming that they can refurb that all in one season. Because
Yeah.
when they build the brand new basketball arena between the two facilities, the basketball team still can play in the Patrick Gym.
Right.
However, UVM can't go anywhere.
Right.
So I'm assuming
I'm
after
sorry, UVM can't go anywhere?
the hockey team, once the season's
there's
over,
no other place for them to
first
play.
of March,
Well,
they need that facility.
yeah,
in
they're
6
not.
months.
The renovations at Gutterson are really, not all that much. I'm not sure if they're putting in, the individual seats or not. I think that you would think that they would, but basically what they're doing, I mean, they're putting in a real video board instead of the regular scoreboard that they have. They're putting in an actual, 4-sided video board. And they're making, where the penalty boxes are, that side of the rink, I guess the left side, if you're walking in like that, they're making that look pretty much the same thing as the right side. They're putting like a concourse level above the
Right.
seats and taking out the bottom part where you walk up to your seats. And then
It's
there's
the
press
only
boxes
hockey arena
above
in
that.
the world where you walk to your seats from the bottom
Right. Yeah.
Because all other arenas, you have the top
Right.
concourse
Right.
and walk your way down.
Yeah.
Now,
You want a little more from the Free Press story, or if you
just
do?
finish here.
Okay.
What I heard is the student sections, that area, this all bleacher, that will remain the same. The opposite end of the rink, when they did the expansion about 20 years ago, they have individual seats. There's no
Yeah.
armrest, but you have a little place.
Yeah.
So that will.
That's
remain
my
the same.
favorite place to sit in that rink is
It's us folks on the
behind there,
sidelines
yeah.
will be getting the individual
Well,
seats.
unless they get a better team, it doesn't matter what they do.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean they're going to have to get a better coach before they get a better team. I think this
Yeah.
coach has proven that he is incompetent.
Yeah, they're at home this weekend against UConn. They have a 2-2 record, 0-1 in the Hockey East. Go ahead, Mr. Duke.
What do you think the capacity of the new basketball arena? Wasn't that about? Didn't
Or
you,
$5 grand?
The current capacity
It's what, 3,200, right?
just tad over 3,000. Now, don't tell me it's going to be
Okay.
under that.
it's not under that, but it's not more. This again from the Free Press story. A new event center adjacent to Gutterson Fieldhouse that will house the men's and women's basketball programs. The venue will seat roughly 3,200 for basketball, nearly 4,000 for events. Weren't we thinking it'd be bigger or not? No.
Well,
Anyway.
there's been a lot of studies done that say you're better off to have a smaller
And have it look like it's packed all
and
the
have
time.
it look like it's
stuff.
packed, and it gets
Yeah.
a lot more.
Right.
Okay.
If I have a ticket to the basketball game and you don't, it just makes it that much more valuable. Say they had a 4,000 and they got 3,600.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it doesn't have.
It's more
Plus,
intimate.
Yeah.
The trend now is to
Talk
go.
to Duke. Nighthawks asking me
Every year.
month. Duke,
The Cameron
why
Arena
aren't they
so-
building it twice as? Because they love it.
Yeah.
Why you got a good thing
Because I
going?
keep telling them they could build a 25,000 seat arena.
Well, I don't think there's
Well,
room on
again, but
Duke's
you're talking-
campus
you're
to do
talking a
that.
private college, sure,
Oh,
maybe under
please, don't tell me Duke
Nighthawk,
can't.
maybe under
oh,
Coach K. We're talking, but you.
I don't
can't
think there's room on
be
their campus
comparing
physically.
Duke and UNC.
Everything's so
Public UNC
scrunched up
could
together
build
on
a-
that
If
place.
Dean
Duke
doing
wanted
it.
a $500 million arena for what you would
No, I'm
go
not
for.
talking the cost. I'm talking about filling it up. If the day comes, as when I was there centuries ago, when it wasn't a good. I had my choice of 3,000 seats
Right.
when I was there.
And
it's not always going to be a place you could fill up 20,000 seats.
I will concur, and the reason being, when John Wooden was at Poly Pavilion, sellout every game. Once Wooden retired in the UCLA basketball, I used to see games
Like I did.
half empty.
Right. Yeah, the part about the basketball arena that I'm most excited about, I think, is that they've got like a giant window at the front of it where
that look cool.
It looks like it's going to have a really cool view of the Green Mountains, which will be fun.
Separation
Really
between
cool.
the basketball arena
And yeah, they're gonna be
Gutterson,
cut-
there's gonna
cut
be
right
like big
together, yeah.
plexiglass windows
Yep.
where David, you could be watching basketball here and take
Even though they'd
aren't
never
some
have
of the
a hockey game
suites
in
going to be
basketball?
for both places?
Right. Yes. Yes.
So, like, if you buy, let's say, Handy Buick GMC wants
Handy-
to buy a luxury suite, we can buy one, and it'll be in the Gutterson Fieldhouse and in a
I
basketball
didn't
court.
know that.
Right. But
I
I mean,
don't-
they don't ever have games at the same time
I can
unless
tell
maybe
you,
it's like a
our
women's
good friends
basketball
at
game.
Handy Toyota spends tens and tens of thousands of dollars for everything down there is Handy Toyota.
Yeah, they get a lot.
I mean, they have a lot of sponsorship, but there's nobody that spends like Handy Toyota.
A little more about Gut, and this is just touched on. Gutterson will remain home to the hockey teams and undergo extensive renovations that include new seating, new entrance, southern concourse, a video board, and an upper-level overlook shared with the event center. Game day capacity about the same, about 4,000. Events layout would hold 4,700. Patrick Gym, incidentally, built in the same year as Gut.
Right.
Also goes back to 63.
Right. Just
Yeah,
so
they could
happens
use, they
Patrick
could use a
Jim's a
little
high
new
school
life
gym.
down there, I think.
Now, to think about it,
Coach Sneddon, by the way, is very excited about that.
well, when I was at UVM,
Oh, great. More players that can ruin the
when I
careers
was at
of.
UVM 40 years ago,
44, David, to be exact. Go ahead.
think about that. Think about that. 40. This is my 40th reunion.
I'm
this
going. I've got my 50th high school reunion in a couple of weeks. Do I go to
And,
that?
So anyway, the basketball tickets were such a drug on the market that they made you buy the basketball tickets
Yeah.
if you wanted the
funny.
hockey
Yeah.
tickets.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember that.
Think about that.
I mean, we're talking a dreadful basketball program then.
they
right?
were
Awful.
and for the girls,
Yeah.
they would only roll out one set of bleachers.
Yep.
And I'm not talking one set of bleachers on both sides.
Yeah.
They would roll out one set of bleachers, period.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Of course, they used to let us play on a full court.
Yeah.
You could play on. It was only a few years ago they took the intramurals off the main court,
Okay.
and that's when they got rid of the track
Right.
at the or the cage in the Gardner Collins cage.
They got rid of that?
Yeah, they put some basketball courts in there.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Because that cage, back in the old days, when smoking was still an okay
Oh, yeah.
thing, because between periods, you had all kinds of room,
God.
unlike you do now. People would go to the cage and light up. And
Well, and I can remember when I was either junior or senior, I took softball for phys ed, and we played all our games in the cage. It was really cool.
All right.
yeah. And next thing, the big event that Duke's got his checkbook or credit card out for is the Phil and Tiger show.
Boy, I
Will
hadn't
be-
even
I
thought
would
of that.
for $20 to watch that. I would.
Something tells me this is not the great event.
I'd watch
that
it if
we
it was
organized
free.
Okay,
thought.
here's the deal.
But I'm not
So
gonna
it's
pay
the
money
day
to watch
after
golf.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
On the 25th, 3 o'clock Eastern time, 12 noon Vegas time, okay, or 1 o'clock Vegas time. Now, it's $19.99 pay-per-view, and there will be zero fans. There's no fans allowed to this.
Is that right? No fans
That's a
allowed?
fact.
Why?
And-
Why? What's the
Why would
thinking
they do
there?
that?
I don't know. And
Really?
Phil and Tiger are allowed to make side bets during the match with money going to
So-
their charity of choice.
So like $20 will make this shot.
Oh, sure.
That's so hokey.
Are you
Is that
kidding?
right? No fans.
No fans.
is
I read
ridiculous.
this,
Well,
What's the thinking there?
This was close to being cool, but now it's
Maybe
just
they thought
sucks.
they couldn't get many fans in there. Who knows?
well,
I
I
haven't
bet you
even
they
thought
could.
about this event.
David, are you telling me you're not paying your $19.99?
I think I'm on the road to Hingham
Is
then.
this more of a moral decision on your part? Yeah.
You just don't, you don't care much.
Because I'll be at the Prime Link hockey tournament, and invariably, you're going to find out. I mean, somebody always
sure.
got their machines out. You're going to find out, and I don't want to.
What about, will my PGA Golf channel on Sirius XM, will they cover that, or think that would be on radio?
Well, I doubt it.
Do it very simply. You
Yeah.
invite a buddy over and charge him $10.
Like I said, it's my 50th high school reunion weekend, which I think I may go to, so I'm on the
That
road.
weekend?
That
Who
weekend.
does
Talk
high
to
school
Clam
reunions?
Man on Martha's Vineyard, closer than me, is bitter. Hey, Richard, why didn't they give us more time? I'm not going to that.
Okay, well, wait. All high school reunions are always done in July.
I suspect they did it probably because they're figuring a lot of folks coming back to their hometown for Thanksgiving. That's my guess. I don't know.
No, that's not a bad.
You went to Hingham High.
Hingham High.
And some of the luminaries, Tony Donato, I think, went to Hingham.
No, there's some hockey. Who's the guy who still does commentary with Felger postseason for like Amante, Mr. Amante, Tony
Amante.
Amante.
Oh, that's what you're right. Tony
I
Monte.
assume he's a high school.
Pretty
He's a
good
Hingham
player.
guy.
Yeah.
Marty McGinnis, kind of a few
Yep.
years in the NHL.
I remember him, yeah.
Another Hingham guy. I can't throw a lot, I can't throw a John LeClaire at
Do you
you.
have any other baseball or football guys out of Hingham?
Boy, nobody who comes instantly to mind.
I'm trying to think. Didn't you tell me before there was like a Celtic that lives in
I mean, the
Hingham?
folks who live, Belichick lives in Hingham. Tim Wakefield lives in Hingham. Plenty of folks live there. I mean, great town. You know the town.
Yeah.
But they're not native sons. I'm not coming again. I've been out of town for 50 years.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird. I'm still trying to convince myself about this.
Yeah, that'll be an interesting event, just due to the fact, like, you're trying to get golf repopularized
Yeah.
with the resurrection of Tiger this year.
I would watch it if it was free, and you guys know how I stand on golf. I'll watch the Masters. I won't watch much else.
Yeah.
I'll follow it lightly.
Yeah.
I would have watched this if they would have done it the right way, but this is the wrong way of doing
I think
it.
what they should do is make them put up their own money.
David, that's the thing.
Really?
Make it hurt.
Yeah.
Right? I'll bet you $9 million, and that is pressure. I will go golf. I'll go golf against my
I'd like
buddy
to
Bob
see him-
Burnell right now, and I'll put $1 million on. But I'm going to have that million sponsored by Handy Buick GMC, not out of my pocket.
It would have been
There's
fun
no
if
pressure.
the old Skins game on TV was the same thing.
Yeah, it's
And
kind of.
if you're not the one putting the money in,
Right.
then it's just all for fun.
I don't care if I lose your money, dude.
So again,
Doesn't bother me.
you will not. You're otherwise.
I'm going to be on the road, and I don't want to have an anxiety-ridden day at the hockey arena for 2 games, knowing that there's going to be some person
If you weren't on the road, would you consider watching this or not?
probably would.
I would have a hard time paying $20 for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I just
I
don't.
hadn't even thought of it. It seems like it's getting very little buzz. I hadn't even thought of that event in weeks, I don't think.
Now I'll tell you what I've done since our old friend Burt Reynolds has passed away.
I know you said last week you were watching it.
Watch Deliverance again?
I
Or
watched Deliverance.
Really?
I've watched, of course, Smoking the Bandit, which we all feel that Jackie Gleason was snubbed by the Academy.
Yeah.
Okay. And some of the lines in that were so good.
Is that right?
Junior, when I get home, I'm going to punch your mama right in the mouth. And
I think you maybe wouldn't hear that line in a movie today.
no. And I
Where
watched,
the white women at?
Yeah, that was a great. And you know who co-wrote that movie?
course,
Richard
Mel-
Pryor.
Oh, is that with Mel
with Mel Brooks. And Mel Brooks asked him,
i.e. a black guy.
yeah, Mel Brooks asked him, he said, 'cause-
Richard, can I get away with that?
and he
Great
goes,
line.
"What? Are you kidding me?" He goes, "That's funny." That's the whole problem today. People don't have a sense of humor. And then what else did I watch? I watched The Longest Yard
That
with
was-
Burt.
yeah.
That actually was a pretty entertaining movie.
I'll tell you, the best scene there was when the light bulb and the guy
Yeah.
injected some gas in it.
Yeah,
the guy
and he-
turned the light on and the whole cell blew up. That was good.
And last night I watched Semi Tough with Burt and Carrie's
Jill Clay,
Jill Clayburgh and
Wow.
and Carrie's cousin.
Chris Christopherson in that movie?
You must have mentioned that book, Chris Christopherson.
No, I say that. I say that.
God, he
just
had me. I mean, I can
facetiously.
honestly say Fred Gwynn was
no.
my cousin.
No, I can tell you that my wife's family is fairly closely related to Winston Churchill. I've
I
told you
think
that.
you mentioned. I think you have mentioned
But
that.
Chris
That's great.
Christopherson is not any more related to my wife than I am.
Yeah.
And but anyway, that Semi Tough had some scenes that you couldn't put in a movie today, and some language and stuff. And I think I'm just watching these things, thinking of how it was a simpler, better time.
Interesting.
Well,
Can I
like,
mention
if
just?
All in the Family premiered tonight.
Oh, you couldn't do it.
I mean,
Yeah, forget it. I'm just talking about TV, not sports. But Nick, this might be worth Watergate. How much does Watergate mean to you? Probably not a whole lot.
I
This is
have a
History
basic
Channel. This is
understanding
probably
of it.
pretty good stuff. You might have noted this. 6 hours, kind of a ducks. Friday night, I assume Saturday and Sunday, 9 to 11 p.m., I assume.
Okay.
But just going some archival stuff,
Yep.
bunch of interviews, but I'm looking forward to that.
Did you? You must have read Woodward Bernstein's book.
Absolutely. All the President's Men. In
Yeah,
fact,
and,
that brings me back. I'm in Chapel Hill at the time, or Durham, but my friend's in Chapel Hill, just watching some of the Watergate stuff. But there's a tiny moment, but I remember it well. Gordon Strawn, a name that I'm sure means nothing. He was kind of a low-level DC guy, very young guy, kind of sandy hair. But he's appearing before the Watergate Committee, and Joseph Montoya, the New Mexico senator, I mean, this is a big scandal. I mean, people are freaked out. What's happening to Washington? I'm glad things are so different today. Anyway, but Montoya says to Gordon Strawn, just this young guy who went to Washington looking to make a career, and then all this horrible scandal. Mr. Strawn, can you give the people any, what would you say to the people out there who want to go to Washington and improve the country, make a career? And his comment was very succinct, stay home. Great, I'll always remember that. Not the comment that Senator Montoya was looking for, stay home.
Well, the big difference between Watergate thing and
I don't mean to compare
and what we get
things today.
today
I just mean all the controversy
is
and
that
stuff.
there was a bipartisan effort. You had a lot of Republicans
Right.
that like Howard Baker.
Of course,
and
Howard
stuff.
Baker's famous line, right? What did you know, and when did you know? That was Howard Baker's line. Right? Yeah, that's a very good point.
It wasn't just on partisan lines.
No, that's a very good point.
But today, you can't get anything.
Yeah, talk
Nothing.
about total
Nothing.
partisanship.
Yeah, it's
pretty
awful.
much.
speaking of television,
Anyway.
you have to be glued to your TV tomorrow night, 8
Thursday
o'clock on
night.
TNT. The Milwaukee Bucks, 7-0, lead the East Conference.
Is that right? 7-0.
With the Greek Freak, and I will call him the Greek Freak simply because I cannot
A
pronounce
lot
his name.
easier.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Wow.
Wow, that's
Wow.
impressive.
One more time.
Really? You want? Okay.
Yes,
One more.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, this guy is
Wow.
a potential MVP candidate.
Wow.
Just an athlete.
Again,
an
against the
athlete.
Celtics, obviously.
Celtics.
Let's not forget, the Bucks gave the Celtics. I mean, I realize how everybody
Last year.
everybody has the Celtics. Oh yeah, they'll of course be in the
Yeah.
finals. Yeah, not to me, not quite so fast. But Milwaukee gave those guys
Milwaukee's
a very
good team.
tough
Toronto
series.
is a good team. But that's the national game of the week.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, we won't get Mike Gorman and Tommy
Oh, so you
Hudson,
get the
who I
national
dearly
feed.
love.
Thanks. So
But-
tomorrow night at 8.
Right. Then the Celtics go on a 5-game road trip.
Nice to see Kyrie showed some pretty good life last
Yeah,
night.
he got a haircut. What made all he had a pro going.
Yeah.
And
He was
very-
tearing
31 points. Kyrie looked like a
Detroit
pretty
right
good
up
player.
last night.
He
Yeah.
looked like one of the NBA's best players to me last night. Anyway.
He looked great in
What's the
Detroit.
Celtics record, anyways?
It's
They're
good.
5-2.
5-2.
Oh,
Not bad.
And Detroit was 4-0, and they had a home and home against the Celtics and lost both ends.
Although last night they made things interesting.
Yeah, it was
Last night
a good
late.
game. And again, I say it 20 times a year during basketball season.
You love Tommy,
Before they
and-
die,
Mike.
Tommy Heinsohn doesn't have long. You've got to
Really? You're really worried about him,
in his
huh?
80s, I mean,
Yeah.
and he still has his mind and all that, but
Barely, yes.
it is so entertaining, and
Yeah,
even when
okay.
they're on the road, Brian Scalabrine,
Scal's good.
Yeah.
And
it's good.
I like.
Carl
I
Schaefer,
honestly,
all
I know
those guys are
Heinsohn's
good.
the Mr. Celtic guy. I think Scalabrini is a lot better than Heinsohn. Heinsohn, I think he's starting to get up there to the point where he's kind of forgetting what he's taught, what he's saying
Is
at
that,
times.
Huck, have you
There's-
picked up that?
There's
Mo-
little
a lot of
breaks.
times he's just a
Scalabrine is
screaming
definitely
guy.
more in depth, and I've
Right.
always said when you're on TV, radio, it has to be a natural ability. I don't
Right.
think you can take a guy off the street, put him in the chair,
5 minutes.
and train him to be great.
Right.
An example quickly, Tony Romo, great.
He's very good, right?
Best friend, Jason Witten,
Awful.
same
Oh,
team.
horrible.
Not so
Horrible.
great.
And I don't care how many years you worked on Jason Witten,
Yeah.
doesn't have it. Now, Chris Sale can throw a fastball 97 miles an hour. You take me at age 25, work with me all you want. Okay, I will never throw the ball at 90. It's just some people are born with gifts, and I hate it when they put ex-jocks in the booth.
I can't.
And they're not qualified because there's some Joe Schmo from Idaho that's a communications major at
Yeah.
age 22 that would be 10 times.
I didn't
Well, and
watch
you know what
any of
else
those
they
guys
do?
after the series. Like David, I got better people to listen to than David Ortiz and even
and
A-Rod.
A-Rod,
I
oh.
listen to the local Boston
agree.
media guys.
They and what's worse than that, especially with the football, is they throw in all this jargon and all the talk, and you know exactly what they're saying. Well, that was the what do they call it? What do they call it when you got two safeties or something? Cover two.
Yeah.
Cover
Who
two.
gives it? You know, John Madden never called all that stuff.
Madden was great.
John
was
Madden
great.
just was entertaining. Even you know who was
Al
good?
Michaels and Collinsworth, those guys aren't
Yeah, I think they're pretty
Yeah,
good.
they're okay.
They're pretty good. aren't
Actually,
they?
I gotta say, watching a World Series, I thought Jack Buck
Joe Buck
or Joe
Yep.
Buck.
did
Joe
a nice
Buck's
job.
he gets
Joe
some, I
Buck
don't know
is
why he gets so
okay.
much grief.
Well,
Joe
I
Buck's pretty
I
solid,
think you got to
isn't
respect Joe Buck because you look at his schedule the last couple of weeks.
Oh,
He's
man.
been doing two NFL games a
Really?
week,
Really?
a lot on top of every single game of the
Yeah,
MLB
Ryan,
playoffs
that's
that Fox
impressive.
does.
I think
so,
Joe's pretty
And John
solid guy.
Schmaltz.
I think he's a great job.
I love
John
He's a great job.
Smoltz is good.
And
John Smoltz
Hall of
is
Fame
very good.
pitcher,
Yeah.
over
Great
200 wins.
scratch golfer.
Yeah.
Right, over 200 wins, 200 saves, and if he never played one game of baseball and took golf up seriously, we'd
Yeah.
be talking about Jack Nicholas Arnold.
Is that right?
I
You
think
think
he's,
so,
isn't
huh?
he going on a senior tour?
I think he did. I think he
Guy-
at least tried to
Really?
get on the
Is
senior tour,
extremely
maybe.
cerebral.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, no, there's some very
and,
good
and
people.
to not throw all the jocks under the bus, I think Aikman's not bad with
Oh,
Joe Buck.
Troy's very good.
Oh, yeah, Aikman's been
decent.
there for a while.
Yeah.
And before we leave, I know it's early in hockey season, but Bruins,
Looked
granted,
good
win,
against
good comfort
Carolina the
behind
other
Mr.
night.
Marchand, couple of goals last
but the
night.
top three, the three teams you expect, Tampa, Toronto, and Boston.
Yeah.
Montreal's been good.
Montreal's playing-
really well.
Yeah.
But Yaroslav Halak, I think he's age 37 now.
Boy, another great
leads-
game last night.
Leads the
4-0-2.
NHL 1.51 goals against average.
Hasn't been
and he's
defeated.
second in save percentage.
He's played a bunch more games than
947.
He's played a bunch more games than Tuca too. He's playing better, I guess.
The Bruins window, I don't want to say it's closing,
Yeah.
but this is a Stanley Cup winning team.
Yeah.
If Halak is their guy this year,
Yeah.
put two.
Halak
on
used
the
to be
bench.
with Canadians too.
Oh yeah.
And that's right when Carey Price came up.
Right.
And Price is on the bench. Halak won a couple series, and there was a lot of controversy. Do we keep Price? Do we keep
No,
Halak?
really.
We traded Halak to the St. Louis Blues.
I remember that. Halak was like 6 years ago.
Yeah. 2010 season.
When the Canadians had that, they had a
Nice run.
nice run.
Yeah.
That was
he
the year that
hoping
they
for
beat
a-
the
like a
Capitals as
prime
the
time?
8th seed. Yes.
And a clearly number one job, or was he just not there?
Last minute.
1 minute to go. No, he just found a comfortable spot. And
Lucky Bruin. No, he's
yeah.
been playing
Oh,
great.
Yeah, the Bruins are good. So that's it. Very spirited show.
Thanks, Sox. Sorry to
Get it?
underestimate
Spirited
you all
on
year.
Halloween. Get it?
Oh.
Okay.
I got some orange. Red
it.
Sox jerseys underneath.
Zach, Red, Super Dave, the Duke. I'm the Nighthawk. Till next week, everyone. Remember, you do not have to be a great athlete to be a good sport. Ciao for now.
See ya. Thanks, Sox.
Adios.